council meeting to order at 6 p.m. Councilman Soap, would you deliver the invocation, please?
Please rise. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, Creator of all things, we come to you this evening, Lord. We just thank you for your gift and blessing, for the life that you allow us to have, Lord, and just pray that you will watch over our proceedings here. We pray that you will have blessings upon our elders, Lord. Bless our young people, Lord, and bless those that need guidance from you, Lord. We pray that you will find a solution for those that have a need, and that they can come to you, Lord. Just thank you for this opportunity you've given this council, Lord, to conduct the Cherokee Nation's business, Lord. Pray that you'll be with those that travel tonight, Lord. Keep them safe. In Jesus' name, amen.
So, roll call.
Bill England.
Here.
Bill John Baker.
Here.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Carly Buzzard.
Here.
Julia Coates. Bradley Cobb.
Lonnie.
Joe Crittenden.
Here.
Jody Fishinghawk.
Here.
Meredith Rayleigh.
Here.
Janelle Fulbright.
Here.
Don Garvin. Chuck Hoskin Jr.
Here.
Anna Glory Jordan.
Present.
Curtis Snell.
Here.
Chris Soap.
Here.
David Thornton.
Present.
Kara Cowden Watts.
Oh, honey.
We have a quorum.
We have a quorum. Next order of business is approval of the January 12 minutes, regular session minutes.
Move for approval.
Second. Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor of approving the January 12 minutes as written, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The minutes stand approved as written.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to include two resolutions that were approved in our Resources Committee today. The first will be a resolution submitting a grant application to EPA. The second one will be a resolution updating the our road system. I'd like to include these as items 7 and 8 on the new business agenda. Make that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion on amending the agenda? Signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign.
Thank you.
Agenda is amended. Next order of business is State of the Nation. Principal Chief Chad Smith. Nice to have you back, Chief Smith, but I must say Melanie did a terrific job. We got out of here early last month.
Madam Speaker, I would suggest that you might take a vacation. She could fill your shoes equally well. That's what happens when these lawyers start arguing.
I'll give him a Mr. Brian, shake it.
Sometimes Big City doesn't say it all.
Yeah. I shared with the council on this February 17th for the State of the Nation, the last CD by our youth choir. I believe it's the 7th one they've produced. Each year they produce one. Of course, we'll send more copies to the council. This is just an initial offering. We're certainly blessed by our youth choir. Every time they sing, our spirits are raised. It's refreshing when we go to our daycares. We can hear their songs in the background. It's comforting when we go to funerals and our fellow Cherokees are laid to rest and we hear our youth choir again sing. And tonight we are honoring our fellow Cherokee citizens who since it passes the last trial council. Hannah Faye Dory Rooster, Greg Pickett, Ray Phillips, Betty Beaver Adair, Annie Harris, David Gunnar Gonzalez, George Goodnight, Marcus Moody, Alvin Washington, Eric Hansen, Jeff Gibson, Dennis Jeff Doubleton. If you will, at this time, share with you a moment of silence. What a As part of our Veterans Honor tonight, I want to acknowledge the service of Cherokee tribal citizen and state representative Shane Jett of Tecumseh. He was commissioned as an officer in the United States Navy on Friday, February 13th, at the state capitol. Tribal Councilman Jack Baker presented him with a Cherokee flag at the ceremony. We want to thank Officer Jett for his military service and hope to present him with our Cherokee Medal in the near future. And we must continue to remember those who are in harm's way serving the United States and our tribal nation overseas, and Brad Carson has certainly one of those, and he's been dispatched to places of harm. So I would ask all of us and all of our friends to keep him in your thoughts and prayers. Tonight we honor two Cherokee citizens who have served in the military. The first is Edward C. Ketcher, Sr. And Joe Grayson, if you'll help me. He's the son of the late Lucy Christie Ketcher and Charlie Ketcher, born in Tahlequah. Mr. Ketcher was raised at the Walhalla community in Adair County and is a fluent Cherokee speaker. Shortly after graduating from Stillwell High School in 1966, he was drafted in the United States Army. In the Army, he achieved the rank of Specialist 4. After 6 years in the service, he was honorably discharged from active duty in October of 1972. After his military service, Edward completed college and moved to Beaumont, Texas, where he was employed by Texas Eastern Products Pipeline Company. He was employed there for 36 years and retired as a senior pipeline operator in 2007. Edward now resides in Walhalla with his wife, Judy Rhodes Ketcher. They have 2 children, Edward Ketcher II and Lindsay Littlefeather Williams, and 1 grandson, Hunter. The couple will be celebrating their 40th anniversary this year. On the Powwow Trail, Ed and his family enjoy traveling across the country to dance and staff area powwows. Mr. Ketcher, would you come forward and let us recognize you?
We would like his wife to come down, please. And bring your grandson. And I'll let you now. Let me have you.
Hi.
See how
You would have lost too.
See how long he will be before he starts crying.
Gives us great pleasure, sir, to present you with the Cherokee National Medal of Patriotism. It is not given to you. You have earned it, sir. We appreciate your service.
Thank you.
Care to say a word?
I'm lost for words. I appreciate this. I'm glad Cherokee Nation has given out these awards. It's been a long time coming for these veterans that come home from foreign land wars, and we're in 2 wars right now, and we pray for these soldiers and the women to come back in one piece and continue their life. So I really appreciate this. Thank you.
You may have some difficulty getting that child back from jail. Ryan Keith Tiger was born in Laredo, Texas, but he grew up in Stillwell, Oklahoma, and graduated high school there in 1989. Ryan enlisted in the United States Navy in 1990 and attended boot camp in Illinois. Later, he was attached to a destroyer out of Long Beach, California. Ryan's many duties included supervisor of the weapon armory and maintaining the large guns on the forward and aft parts of the ship. Ryan was deployed to the Gulf region on 2 occasions, and after 5 years of service received honorable discharge from the Navy. Since his military service ended in 1995, Ryan has received his Bachelor of Science degree in Criminal Justice from NSU and is now an Oklahoma State Probation and Parole Officer. In 2001, Ryan re-enlisted in the Navy Reserves. He had maintained his rank of E5 and was attached to the U.S. Pacific Command at Camp Smith, Hawaii. After serving in the unit for several years, he was transferred to his current unit in Norfolk, Virginia. Currently, 95% of his unit is deployed in the Gulf region. Ryan is proud to be a Cherokee Nation citizen and says that his best attributes are his children's. His number one goal is to ensure that they have a bright future. Would you come and let us acknowledge you, sir?
Would you come down, please? Ryan's mother is going to pin the medal on him. Ryan, it gives us great pleasure and honor to present you with the Cherokee National Medal of Patriotism. And it is an award you have earned. It is not a gift of praise. Thank you, sir. You can go ahead.
My uncle's Ed Catcher, and he said a lot earlier. Like I said in my letter, 95% of my units deployed right now, and they're spread out pretty much in Iraq and Afghanistan and stuff. And my main objective as a reservist is to get deployed, and that's what I'm in the reserves for, to serve my country. And I'm looking forward to at least one day trying to go back again.
Yes, sir. I'd like to advise you on the status of the stimulus package that was signed, I believe, today in Denver. We had the opportunity, our staff and such, during the transition time to visit with members of the administration and tried to express the needs of Indian country that could be addressed by the stimulus package. We were able to have a meaningful dialogue with members of the transition committees. What we understand at this point is that the new stimulus package will provide close to $4 billion to Indian country. We're currently going through the reams of paper that compose the stimulus bill to understand what the funds are formula funds, what the funds are competitive funds, what things we need to do to prepare to compete for those funds and to execute them promptly. So I'd like to thank our employees and our elected officials who worked diligently to secure a part of that legislation for the Cherokee Nation in Indian country, but not only here in Tahlequah, but those in Oklahoma City and those in Washington, D.C. I'd like to also advise you in other issues. The Cherokee Nation has filed a lawsuit asking a federal court in Oklahoma to resolve the long-standing dispute of whether non-Indian freedmen descendants have a federal right to citizenship in the Cherokee Nation. In our filing, we're asking the federal court to confirm that Congress unilaterally modified the Treaty of 1866, and as a result, the non-Indian descendants of those freedmen have no federal rights to citizenship in the Cherokee Nation. After years of controversy, it's important to let the federal courts decide the issue. Last year, I assured members of Congress that if they would allow the federal courts to decide, we would push to have the controversy heard on the merits. The following is the Cherokee Nation keeping its word. We're letting the federal courts have a clear path to reach a decision on the merits without compromising the nation's sovereign immunity, without the risk of setting other procedural precedents that may affect other tribes. Members of Congress said they will respect a federal court decision on this issue, and this is the quickest way to an impartial, apolitical, judicial solution. This is the best way to have the matter settled once and for all about how Congress has changed the treaty over the years. It's an opportunity for Congress to honor the courts in resolving the issue rather than attempt the Cherokee Nation in pursuing its perception of its rights. In program highlights tonight, the Cherokee Nation's Natural Resources Department has a program designed to ensure that future generations will be able to enjoy the same traditional plants that have been a part of the history of the Cherokee people for centuries. Recently, staff members offered Cherokee citizens an opportunity to be part of a seed exchange. The program encourages gardeners to grow these special heirloom plants and then send back a few seeds to help replenish the Cherokee Nation seed stock. This kind of innovation engages all citizens of all ages in a cultural activity that benefits us all. The program has been so successful that all the seeds have already been spoken for. We look forward to seeing the heirloom Cherokee plants sprouting up in gardens everywhere. And if you recall, during the State of the Nation, we gave away seed corn. There was a very unique corn that had a white eagle on it. And we encourage and challenge those at the State of the Nation to plant those seeds, and next year during the State of the Nation, bring one ear of that corn back to lay upon the platform to show the growth and the dynamic effort of the Cherokee people to constitute themselves as a cultural nation. Once again, the Cherokee Nation's emergency management team helped during a weather disaster. The ice storm at the end of January hit the Cherokee Nation hard, and employees helped local emergency teams who needed help with shelter, water, and food. We also sent out chainsaw crews to clear main roads so that other emergency vehicles could get through. Rural areas had long waits for their power to be restored, and we believe that most of the households have now power. Then I'd like to thank Council Lady Fishing Hawk and Councilman Joe Crittenden and Councilman Glory and Councilman Baker for their assistance in helping to expedite chainsaw crews, to get out folks to help us get the roads cleared. I know western Cherokee County, and especially Adair County, was hit the hardest, and I've heard nothing but praise for our chainsaw crews and their contribution to the community. Our Cherokee Community Services Department is again offering free tax preparation services to Cherokee citizens and other area residents with an annual income of $42,000 or less. The program will be offered through Tuesday, April 14th in various locations throughout the Cherokee Nation. Last year, the program assisted more than 2,300 residents with tax preparation. Related to tax season, our Real Estate Services Group is letting citizens know that a state tax exemption is available to Cherokee Nation citizens. This 2008 Oklahoma tax exemption is only for citizens who work at certain locations and also live on the family's land that is still in restricted or trusted status. Cherokee citizens can contact our real estate offices for assistance with their verification letters. Those who have already filed their 2008 tax return can still file an amended return if they qualify for this tax exemption. The ice storm not only knocked out the power and broke a few trees, it also changed Sequoia School's calendar for the year. The days that were missed will be made up at the end of the year, May 18th through 22nd. Graduation will occur as scheduled on May 15th. Linda Donaldson, the Director of Real Estate Services here at the Nation, is scheduled to discuss all aspects of land, allotment, and policies in the Cherokee Nation. Linda will have her talk here in the Tribal Council on March 19th at 10:30 to noon. It's a very interesting topic, and she'll answer all the questions about land allotment that you were always scared to ask. Encourage everybody to attend. And in closing, I had a fun time this weekend. I was invited to the PBR, the Professional Bull Riders Association, for their invitation in Oklahoma City, to watch a young man from Hulbert that Miss Gloria has never heard of, Ryan Dirt Eater. Bright young man, extremely polite, could be a role model for all of us. And Ryan was going into the last round, actually leading. If he had rode his last bull, he would have taken the top prize. He was a crowd favorite. He was pleased that the Cherokee Nation Youth Choir came and sang Friday night, and we were in attendance at the Sunday event. Unfortunately, he missed his last bull by a second and a half, everybody was disappointed, but he's a great athlete and he has a great future in front of him. It was just a very pleasant experience. The next day was at the state capitol discussing English only. And there showed up another Cherokee cowboy. And this is Justin McDaniel from Porham. And he's a world championship bronc rider. And he is being acknowledged by the Oklahoma legislature for his great accomplishments. And the Speaker Fraley, there's a great song that I need to send to you by Buffy St. Marie. It's called Indian Cowboy. My little Indian girl has a crush on her Indian cowboy. And it certainly dawns on us that Cherokees have taught Europeans quite a bit. I believe the first cowboys were certainly Indians. So it was a great time. Both of these young men are great examples of our community, and I'm sure in the future we'll have the opportunity to acknowledge them here at the council meeting. Thank you very much, Bordeaux.
Chief Smith, did you register to ride a bull?
Ma'am, I'm a bronc rider.
Bareback or saddle?
Bareback. Absolutely. But since you've given me that opportunity to open the conversation, I would encourage everybody on the issue that we were visiting in the Oklahoma legislature about English only. It's an emotional issue for some folks. For us, I can remember the days that our ancestors were punished, mouths washed out with soap, segregated because they spoke our sacred languages. And that was under the federal policy of English only. And if it was harsh and harmful to our ancestors, would it not be harsh and harmful to other people today? And to be quite honest with you, it's a form of being a bully. And I don't know of anybody in Oklahoma who likes bullies, whether it's a bully on the street or a bully in the legislature. The ramifications of these hateful bills of English only in the legislature are only directed at one class of people. We should have no tolerance for it. We understand the pains, the harshnesses of being singled out because of a different intelligence. And I want to thank Chuck Hoskins Jr. for his dad's leadership in the legislature for combating those kinds of English-only bills. And I understand the council being full support of that opposition. But for those tribal members and others who are watching the video tonight, the video stream, I ask you to contact your state legislator and say, you know, we haven't had a problem with English being an understood language for the last 100 years. What has so changed? We really need to create an image at this moment in time for all people, outsiders, our own children, that we're a warm-hearted, open-minded, and a very tolerant people. And by passing in a harsh English-only provision, it tells the rest of the world we are not that. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bareback was the answer.
Next order of business is action of unfinished business. There's none pending, so we move on to committee reports. The first report is Housing Authority, and I understand Mr. Sutherland is in a meeting, so is Sharon here? Oh, there you are. Sharon Lay will be reporting for the Housing Authority. Thank you for coming tonight, Sharon.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Sutherland is at the Housing Authority Board meeting tonight. It started at 5:30. It's a regular meeting, so it was a light agenda, and he had a couple of things that he wanted to discuss with them, and one of them was a Rural Water District Number 3 funding request. They have a replace a water line in the Gourd Lane Man-Killer Circle addition north of Tahlequah. The other item was the Southwind Acres in Mays County for sale. I believe it's to community service for the use of the property for self-help houses. We received our renewal from Community Shield last week. Frame homes are now $370 a year. which is a $2 increase. Mobile homes are $465 a year, which is a $3.42 increase per month. We're fortunate because losses last year were substantially more than we paid, but overall, MRN did well in this program nationwide. We received the audit last week. It was a good, clean audit. The auditor was unable to be at the month's board meeting, so they're scheduled for March meeting. That's the end of the report. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them.
Any questions or comments from Ms. Lay? It's not. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next report is Cherokee Nation Enterprises. For David Stewart is Sean Slayton.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
Dave's traveling, so they asked me to stand in tonight for him. In reference to C&E, we continued in December to kind of see a weakness in the market. However, in January, I'm happy to report we saw that turn around, and that follows what historically has been the trend here, that October, November, December are soft months. January, the trend starts heading north again, and then we normally have really good February and March, the month of March. So that's normally our best month. So the indicators are that it is headed back north, and we're happy about that. Our contributions from taxes back to the nation for the month of January were $118,000. The expansion projects continue at West Siloam. I was there yesterday, and I think today they hung the first piece of steel on that Phase 2 project. They've been doing the demo, and I understand that some of the leftovers that we didn't move to the new facility were obtained from various community groups and things like that. So we're happy that that happened, and it's scheduled to reopen probably the 1st of July in Phase 2. And we're working on maybe tweaking that just a little bit, but I think that's the time frame for that particular opening on that. The hotel, we're still reviewing. We put that back out for bid to try to take advantage of the market softening and see if we can get a better price on that. Those bids should come back to us at the end of next week or the week after, I think. I think all we were lacking is mechanical and electrical. Completion date on that one, when we move forward, be sometime June 10. At Catoosa, we opened the porte cochere, at the end of December in the grand lobby. It's really doing good. The center bar's doing great. We anticipate opening the hotel the first week of May, and the convention center that same date. There are a couple little issues with the city of Tulsa we're working through in terms of sewer, but that still is our anticipated date for that. We'll be remodeling Twisters, and that's coming on June of '09, along with the Hard Rock Gift Shop. Toby Keith's will open July the 1st, and then the top floors on the hotel will be open the 1st of July. So that's coming quickly. We're getting ready to go out for bid on the theater. We're rebidding that entire project, and again, to take advantage of market conditions out there. Our employment is 3,468, and that's an increase of about 22 employees from the previous month. Our C&E Cherokee percentage is 58.9. Other Native Americans at 11.4 for a total of 70.3. Management level is at 59.9, with other Native Americans at 7.6 for a total of 67.5%. Another note, our C&E employees have committed 16,000 hours to volunteer for the Veterans Center, and we're happy to contribute that, and I think that's a great cause, and we look forward to being able to help. And that will be employees from all of our facilities, not just the corporate area. And that's my report on C&E. I don't see anybody from CNB here, but I could mention a few things either now or at the appropriate time on that.
Council have any objection to his reporting on CNB now? Right ahead, Mr. Slayton.
Thank you. I've sat in on the board meeting last month, and I don't work for CNB. Dave is as you know, the CEO there, but I am helping on a project or two, and the first one is the landfill. They're working extremely hard to get that open and ready. Our original target date, as I understand it, was about mid-March. There was a little issue that's come up that looks like that, and the weather's going to push it about 2 weeks to April 1st. So we're still on track on that. We're trying to get the equipment out there for them. It's hard to do your job if you don't have the right stuff, the right tools, and so we're working on that. In terms of other projects going there, Dave is working closely with the other CEOs to make sure everybody's pulling on the rope same direction, and it looks to me like there's a lot of good things happening there and things to come. So that's about all I know about C&B, and I'll be happy to answer any questions about that or C&E if you have any.
Any questions, comments for Mr. Slayton? Guess there is none. Thank you. Final report is Cherokee Nation Industries, Brian Collins. Good evening, Mr. Collins.
Good evening, Council. Well, as Sean had mentioned, even in our segment of the business, we are, I wish I could say, are rebounding like the casino is, but the industry is still soft. What we're seeing in various areas are still customers pushing orders out, changing their schedules, trying to slow their rate down. A lot of our large accounts, as you see in the papers, they're laying off. So we're working on contingency plans, positioning ourselves to go after more accounts, new customers. I don't see at this moment that we have to make those types of serious changes, but it is tightening up for us quite a bit. Good news, though, in the construction areas, we have a bonding solution. We were in hopes, it had been here a little earlier, but we are aggressively bidding jobs and having opportunities on new jobs. We have a $17 million project that's in the finalizing of the contract with HUD, and that takes them about 30 days to approve it. And if that gets approved, then we'll be looking at a start date sometime mid-April. Also, the Okmulgee Eastern Central Oklahoma Co-op, we have a design build for their new headquarters. That is in there finalizing the blueprints and getting that prepared. We're looking at a start time of mid-May. They actually break dirt on that. That looks like that's pretty well a done deal. And the Bigsby project, we're still on target to finish August or earlier, on schedule and on budget. The customer also has awarded us an additional $400,000 or $500,000 of work at the site. Wrapping up the ISIS warehouse, should complete that by the end of February on that project. But we have several other projects we're chasing, design builds. The bonding has been a big help for us, and I appreciate CMB's and all the legal team's support in helping that, as well as the council. The construction, just to kind of give you an idea of, basically on revenue to date is around $25 million. Our budget was $41 million. $9 million of that was construction. So we're hoping through being aggressive and going out that we'll try to recover as much of that gap that we had on budget, which will also help on profitability, is where a lot of the profits that we had budgeted this year was through the construction division. Telecommunication and technology segment, they're about $5 million behind on budget as well from a revenue. AT&T's orders has reduced significantly. We have been notified, though, that they're going to start picking back up on their orders. They kind of squeezed real tight over the last few months, but they are going to start releasing some orders. But I don't see a significant pickup in that revenue right away. So what we've done is we've repositioned by going out and aggressively going after business with Verizon. We have been selected as one of their new providers. I don't know what type of revenue impact that'll make at this moment, but we're still courting them and trying to establish the same type of relationship that we have with AT&T. Within our aerospace division, significant improvements in production. We've added a lot of people over the past, and we're starting to finally see good, strong productivity coming through the division, actually showing a lot of signs of turning that division to where they had been losing money, getting closer to where they're getting closer to the break-even towards profitable. Luckily, within that division, rotorcraft, helicopters, and generators are still high demand for the Army. That's where we've positioned ourselves, and we continue to position going after that business. And so I don't see a downturn in aerospace and defense at this time. Current employment numbers, 426 with an 86% Native American content. And that completes my report at the moment. I don't have a time frame for the next board meeting, but I'll advise as soon as we set that up.
Questions, comments for Mr. Collins? If not, thank you, Brian.
All right, thank you.
Next order of business is old business. There's none pending. We'll move on to new business. First item coming out of Resource Committee is a resolution submitting a resource management plan grant proposal to the BIA. Mr. Snell.
Yes, this resolution to the grant proposal to the BIA. Not move for its approval.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And item 2 is coming out of Rules Committee is an express waiver of sovereign immunity. Mr. Buzzard.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve this resolution to waive the sovereign immunity of the Cherokee Nation and Cherokee Nation Home Health Services to the extent it may exist as it applies to bank FERS and Cherokee Nation Home Health Services industry loan transaction. What this is a loan we're trying to get from the bank FERS to purchase a nursing center in Jay, Oklahoma. I'd like to take this time to thank Mr. Rick Richards on his hard work to put this package together. So, Rick, I want to thank you. So, I would move for the approval of this resolution.
Second.
Moved in second. Mr. Hoskin.
Madam Speaker, would Councilman Buzzer entertain a friendly amendment which would, let me direct your attention, Councilman, to the 5th whereas paragraph. There's 2 references to Cherokee Nation. In the second sentence, pursue remedies directly against Cherokee Nation. I would add its officers or elected officials. And then further down, collection actions against Cherokee Nation, I would add its officers or elected officials so that it fully encompasses any possible action against any officer or elected official.
Yes, I would
overabundance of caution.
I would accept that motion, Madam Chair.
Okay. All minds clear? We have a motion. Did you second, Mr. Hoskin?
I did.
You did.
And I would accept it.
Any further discussion? All minds clear on the amendment. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next is item 3, coming out of Executive and Finance, is Mod 4 to the 2009 budget. Mr. Jack Baker.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. The main items of Budget Mod 4 is bringing forward $10,800,000 of unused funding from last fiscal year, but unfortunately we have a $9 million reduction due to the downturn in the economy of expected revenues. And I would make a motion that we approve Budget Mod.
Acclamation.
By acclamation.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 4 is an amendment to the sale tax code. Mr. Hoskin.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This would amend our current exemptions from the sales tax code to include 100% disabled veterans. I'd move for its approval.
Second.
Moved in second. Any further discussion? Do you want this by acclamation?
Yes, ma'am.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 5 is an amendment to the licensing tax code. Mr. Hoskin.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This adds to our existing legislation on mini trucks, further defining it consistent with the federal regulations. I'd move for approval by acclamation.
Second.
Moved in second by approval by acclamation. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And item 6 is a resolution authorizing financial depositories for Cherokee Nation. Mr. Jack Baker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This resolution adds to financial institutions and adds Wells Fargo as a depository. I make a motion that we approve it.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And item 7 was included under the amended agenda, is coming out of Resource Committee today, is a resolution submitting a grant application to the EPA to ensure safe drinking water at Kenwood. Ms. Callan Watts.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is for EPA 2009 Drinking Water Tribal Set-Aside Program. It's a $307,500 grant with no match requirement. And after the Kenwood Public Water System would be built to meet federal drinking water requirements, which it does not, I guess, at this time, then it would be turned over to that Kenwood facilities for them to maintain. And I'd make a motion to approve.
Second motion.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion, all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, item 8 is a resolution updating the Indian Reservation roads, adding approximately 468 miles of roads. Mr. Snell.
Yes, this resolution is for long-range transportation planning and authorization by the BIA to update the nation's IRR inventory. And I'd move for its approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item is announcements. Do we have any announcements this evening?
Madam Speaker.
Yes. Councilman Watts?
On Saturday, the Cherokee Women's Grassroots Leadership Group is having a scholarship deal at 2 o'clock at the, I think it's at 2, maybe it's 10, but it's Saturday, and if anybody's interested, they can email me in Claremore talking about scholarship resources outside the Cherokee Nation, but the groups that deal with higher education have also been invited to have booths to interact with people at that time. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Mr. Crittenden?
Madam Speaker, just a comment about the recent ice storm that we had in Adair County that Chief Smith talked about a while ago. Oftentimes we will not thank people and mention names because we're afraid we're going to forget somebody. But at the same time, there were so many people that helped us. It kind of reminded me of the rock fence project we had a while back that I enjoyed working on. And I just want to publicly thank a few folks that helped us over there. If it hadn't been for the concerted effort of all of us, and the support from the tribe, we'd probably still be digging out in a lot of areas. Chief Smith was instrumental in cutting some of the red tape and getting things working for us so we could get some help. Charlie Soap and Charlie Barr, Community Service Group, the Fire Dancers, Todd Enlow, Michael Lynn, Angie Drews, Diane Kelly, Faye Baird, Kurt Snell was over there with us. I appreciate you being over there, Kurt. Melanie Knight, Tamara Copeland, and the marshals, the C&E for the meals, my counterpart here for the efforts on the chainsaw crews and all that helped the county commissioners. It was an exercise in what would you call it? A Godoogie project, I guess. I appreciated it and I enjoyed it, and it done a lot of good for our people, and I was glad to be part of it. And I just wanted to thank those folks. And thank you, ma'am.
Ms. Jordan?
And on behalf of Cherokee County, I want to echo the same that the Honorable Councilman Crittenden to my left just said, and I also want to add a big thanks, because I really am thankful for this, that Chief Smith was very receptive to the idea of hiring the day labor. I think it made a big difference in the communities that needed help right then. Putting that day labor on and getting them out there to help the county commissioners, that was an excellent way of employing some of our people for a short term for a needed project.
Any other comments?
Move to adjourn.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. We are adjourned at 6:40.